You rock, my friends. You Rock podcast is for women like you who want to own your life and live an engaged and joyful life. Hosted by Dr. Aliyah Majid, mom of 3, devoted wife, and a scientist turned life coach on a mission to empower women to take control of their lives. In this podcast, we deliver tools, insights, and inspiration on rocking your own life, owning to your highest potential, and becoming the best version of you. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aliyah Majid.
Assalamualaikum. Welcome back again, everybody, to this week's podcast, You Rock podcast for ambitious women like you to go after the life that you want. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Aliyah Majid, your life and productivity coach, and I help female high performers increase productivity and effortlessly achieve success. And in this episode, I'll be sharing with you guys the lessons that I've learned after a year of building a thriving coaching business. Yes, it's already a year since I first registered my enterprise with the SSM. So it's actually already been a year since I'm operating officially. Yay for me! Alhamdulillah, so many things have been happening. I'm really grateful for all the things that has been happening, and I'm really excited to step into the second year of conducting and striving in this business. Okay, so there's so many things I've learned throughout these years. To tell you one by one, I think it's quite impossible. But I have been sharing all the things that I've learned throughout this podcast. What I'm going to sum up to you is the 3 most important lessons that I've learned regarding building a thriving coaching business. For those of you who are thinking about venturing into starting a business, maybe this episode might be useful for you. So stay tuned and listen up till the end, because there's so many things that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so first up, the first thing is that mindset matters. So I think you already know about that. I have told you so many times about how mindset matters, and this experience have taught me a lot regarding how I was operating in life before this, and how stepping into my authenticity into building this business have brought me to really learn on how to upgrade my mindset. Okay, one biggest blocks that I have been facing throughout the year of building this business is my money mindset block. So before this, I have never ever know about that word, money mindset. What does that mean? What actually does it looks like? It's actually, there's a term for it for people like me who are really afraid to make money. So it's called money mindset. It goes deeper than only just getting money and losing it just because I want to buy something. It's more than that, because it is already kind of imprinted in the way that I have brought up in. To those of you who didn't know, my family, we are not entrepreneurs, okay? So all of us work hard in the government sector and also in the company, and getting that paid consistent income from other person, meaning that you don't need to generate your own money. So work hard to get to the next stage of life, and that's usually how we was operating, at least for me. So I was thinking that if I work really hard, I could achieve the next level of success. I learned that I have a block in this. I have a ceiling that limits me from getting that next level of financial stability, financial income. So I just realized this recently, and I'm going to be transparent with you guys. And this is what I have learned throughout this year. What I learned is that although I was starting this business and I need that money, to be honest, I was really afraid to get me to pay for my service. That was at the beginning of it. I feel like an imposter, which I will explain a little bit more after this regarding that. But the money mindset that I have is really what's preventing me from getting the income that could support myself and my family from this business. So that was the first block I've seen in myself. I've learned how to overcome it. One book that I really love that's called Chillpreneur by Dennis Dunfield. I listened to the book. Most books I actually listen to Audible. It was really eye-opening for me. It's the first time for me to learn about this concept and how working hard is not going to give me any more abundance in terms of financial and so on. I remember back then, how was this girl, I tried to do everything that was taught to me. I thought that everything I have to do it. So when I learned about marketing, when I started my business, I follow all the steps that I thought I need to follow one by one. But the outcome is not there. It's because I'm starting to lose myself. I'm starting to neglect my health. I'm starting to neglecting my relationship with God, relationship with my family. And it shows in my work as a coach, especially when you are in the service-based business. You want to be really present. You want to be really present with who you are serving. So when I was in that state where I was kind of desperate and I was putting so much hours into online marketing, making sure that I do all the things that this marketing strategist told me that I need to be doing in order for me to gain more and more clients. But it doesn't work that way. After I know some of the things that I've learned and then tweaking to prioritizing what's the most important thing in my business and what's the one thing that if I do that will generate most of the outcome and really focusing, doubling down on my effort on that, I gain more clients by doing that without putting too much effort and stress and being overwhelmed in all the tactics that out there, that if you start searching for marketing strategy online, you'll see thousands and millions of it, which will make you overwhelmed. So my first lesson is to know that the most important thing in the business, in your business, is your well-being. I think this is number 2 would be, right? Because number 1 would be the mindset matters, right? So number 2 would be your well-being is most important because you want to be having this business as a sustainable, as a solid business that you build from ground up. It's not something that you want to be like a hobby that you do 1 year and then the second year you just give up because you don't have any resources left. You have to build the right way from the start and choosing what's the one most important thing that could bring 80% of the outcome. The 20%, I always go back to the Pareto's principle. So it focus down on the 20% of the activities that could bring 80% of the outcome. So yeah, number 2 would be prioritizing your well-being. So back to the imposter syndrome. Okay, that's the number 3. Imposter syndrome. So I thought that I would get over it after coaching for a year. I thought that I would be okay with this thing that is called coaching. But the imposter syndrome is always there. Until I learned that from one of my mentors that I really love, following him, following his advices and reading his book. The writer of The Prosperous Coach, Rich Litvin, mentioned that if you don't have the imposter syndrome, it means that you don't play big enough. So it means that if you are comfortable, that means you will not be having imposter syndrome anymore, meaning that you are not stretching yourself, you are not growing out of your comfort zone. So when I learned about that, it's become easy for me to face the reality that it is a bit scary, the things that I'm doing, the new things that I'm trying. I might feel like, who am I, right? Who am I to do this? Who am I to coach this awesome woman in front of me? Who am I? But when I start to think about the way for me to be continuously improving is to try new things. And of course, when you try new things, you feel the imposter syndrome creeping up in you. So the way that I manage it is by always visualizing what success looks like and thinking about how I want the interaction to successful coaching session would look like, things like that. So it's quite hard for me to explain to you because it's easier if you really experience it with me. A coaching conversation, a coaching experience with me is something that would benefit anybody. Even if you don't have any problem, it's okay, because some people think that coaching is for people who are struggling, people who have problem. But the reality is that to be able to get into coaching session is something that is life-changing for me, in my opinion. So if you are new here, remember to subscribe my podcast channel. Or if you have been following me for quite a long time, make sure you share this episode to people who would benefit this episode too. Okay, back to the lessons. Would be number 4 is influence and connection. When I first came back from Japan and building this business, I don't have anyone who can support me in Malaysia in terms of, people who already gone through this journey or somebody that I can talk to. I just don't have any idea, but I know that I want to do this after I think I have mentioned this in my IG story and in my newsletter this week. If you've read it, I mentioned that the last salary that I got from Japan, I invested in a goal-setting live event with Michael Hyatt that called The Best Year Ever. And it was the best investment that I have had for a long time at that time, although I also invested in my own PhD. But what I'm saying is that that's just a thing that I never thought that it would just be life-changing. And figuring out what I want to do after graduation is like, oh my God, I never thought that this is thing that is really necessary to do, because most of us know that when you graduated from whatever field that you have, you might be expected to apply directly, to somewhere that you certified in. So for example, myself, I have a PhD in engineering. So the default pathway is to apply to many universities, and people like to go to a more higher ranked university. If you are a competitive person, you want to get into the best school and work there. But that's just not me. I don't feel like that at that time, at least, because I was really feeling like I don't feel like going in to teach in a university. My priority is my health and my kids' health. And it was COVID, and we just moved back in Malaysia, transitioning from Japan. So the kids needs my attention. I don't feel like really applying and getting into any universities, at least at that time. That's why I invested in this goal setting thing, so that I know, okay, if that is not the thing that I want to do, so what do I want to do? Because I know I don't want to be sitting at home and doing nothing, except for, taking care of my kids. That's always the thing that I love to do. But on top of that, what are the things that bring me joy, that will push me and be excited to go out of bed every morning? So what was that? What is it? So that live event really changed my mind. If I'm not, this is not sponsored by Michael Hyatt or anything. I just share with you guys if you are interested to know where does the starting point of me venturing into this business, right? So what I mentioned just now is about connection and influence, right? So because I know what I want to do, I start with looking at people online. Who are the people that is already in this field online? So it doesn't necessarily need to be somebody from Malaysia. Though later after that, I found other coaches, female coaches that I inspired and I contacted them. So those are people like Datin, Dr. Liz Hassan, who was our podcast guest in the early, when I started this podcast, I invited her and she said, yes, why not? So if you are interested to know more about that podcast episode, check out the list of podcast episodes that I have. And one of them, we have this guest, Dr. Liz, as guest in our podcast. So that being said, that I know no one, but I approach these people that inspires me. I attend their workshop, I attended their seminars, and listen to what they say and think about, wow, so how does I fit into this kind of ecosystem? So who can I model? And what are the things that I like about this person who I am trying to model? So it's not about like copy pasting and doing everything that other people do. It's about modeling to increase your skills and be the master of your, your creation. So my first couple of months would be to get really good at the key skills. So the first one would be my coaching skill, and then the second one would be my, marketing skill. How can I get people to sign up for my coaching packages? So the things I have done is to really determine what are the skills that I want to master. So it's not, when we are saying about coaching skill, it's still a broad area. So in order for me to know what is out there and what are the coaching skills that I like to develop to be the master of that skills, so I attended seminars, workshops. Some of them are free, that's available online, to kind of see and learn from various resources. From that, I start to pick up things that I'm interested in and set these specific stretch goals to develop that skill. So when I do that, I also attach emotion and meaning that knowing why am I doing this is important for me to really get up, even though it was sometimes, I get demotivated also when the result is still not there. So finding the reason behind doing all of this is really important. Some of the things that I have done also is to be accountable by attending masterminds and also by investing in coaching, certificates and coaching seminars. So this has helped me to show up and really practice my skill. And I really learned a lot, and the things that I've learned there is something that you cannot just get it freely from YouTube. So before this, I thought that the thing that you learn from YouTube or, cheap courses that people sell online, it is the same. Now I really understand the difference and the big impact that it makes from the high fee programs that I invested in. So that's really helped me to grow exponentially within this 1 year. So for those of you who haven't noticed yet, I have recently revamped my coaching program, and also have increased the price of my coaching package. And starting June 2020, the price is increased. So if you are interested to lock your price for the coaching package, make sure to get an experience with me on a discovery call that I provide the link in the show notes below. So if you have and schedule a meeting with me, most probably if you book today, the dates of our meeting will be already in June. But since you have taken the action step to meet me on the discovery call before June the 1st, you'll be able to lock the price before it's gone up and will not be reduced back again forever. So that's the way how it goes. I hope that you guys take action. And if you are thinking a lot about this program that I have, which is called the Success Accelerator Program, and if you are interested to know more about it, please hop on the call with me. It's a 30 minutes call. It's totally no risk at all. I will not push you to buy from me. It's just a place for you to ask anything from me and be able to also experience a bit of a coaching session with me, inshallah. Okay. So yeah, all in all, that's some of the important lessons that I've learned throughout this 1 year. And I'm really grateful that you guys are here to support me every step of the way, listening to this podcast. I love doing this. I love interacting with you guys. Make sure you hop on Instagram story or DM if you're listening to this and share with me your insights that you've gathered from this episode today. So before we go, my last advice for you is to always start your day with an intention, love what you do, and your day with gratitude. I see you next week. Assalamualaikum. Are you struggling to find time for yourself or for things that matters to you? Or if you even ever find some time, you found that you can't simply slow down and stop thinking about work. If you are one of those women, you'll benefit from the Success Accelerator program, my 12 weeks one-on-one success and productivity coaching program that helps you to do less and get more work done so that you can spend more time doing things you love. Book a free call with me at draliamajid.com/coaching, or you can do a self-assessment using my free life audit workbook at draliamajid.com/life audit, or you can even join my Facebook group from the link below. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.